talking about autism acceptance after my YouTube video had a bit of a controversial reception.
Do you know what? Every so often I catch a comment that you've received.
Yeah.
And I'm like, thank you for helping the algorithm, by all means. But really, what on earth?
I know. Yeah, acceptance is always one of those topics, though, isn't it? That you kind of you go into it for the right intentions and the right reasons, but it always attracts people that want to argue, which in a way is a bonus because you are trying to bring light to a subject.
The internet will always find something to... That's what I've noticed. I want to do a segment on Untangled, where we go through the comment section. Purely because... Let's put that there. It makes it look like we've got a proper podcast.
Hey, we have got a proper podcast. Proper podcast.
But when we just go through the comment section, because it could be something like some woman that's like, I love making this sandwich for my husband for his lunch.
Yeah.
And someone will be like,
find something to... I always go straight to the comment section, and then I am the person that will comment just here for the comments. Because
just here for the comments.
I knew this video was going to garner a load of weird, crazy comments, and that's why I'm here, just purely to see them.
Sometimes that's just what you've got to do.
It's like, who saw my video of using a key in a trolley? Have I spoke about this already on the podcast?
Do you know what? I can't actually remember if it's been talked about on the podcast, but that
wow.
I mean, it's just a perfect example about how you're helping the algorithm when you're commenting stuff.
Yeah, because that video blew up, and then people were even commenting, "Oh, this is so unoriginal. You have not thought of this." Blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, but go onto my page. There's loads of original videos that don't get shown to a huge audience. That I would love to have this kind of attention. You know, the video about the key was just a silly video.
It's such a it amazes me, and it's the fact that for someone to be like, this isn't original, going on a comment section and typing this isn't original, by the way, is way less original.
An original response ever.
And the amount of times that you just like, it's just some, especially because Facebook, it blows my mind.
Yeah, I mean, social media. I'm too sensitive really to have social media. Like sometimes it really gets to me, the comment.
Well, it's all right saying like, just don't let it get to me. Just
Yes,
don't let
it's
it
not
be a
easy
problem.
though, is it?
You read one comment and you're like, hold on a second.
It's that you feel your heart rate you feel that strange, oh no, there's a confrontation coming type feeling. Yeah. It's not a nice feeling, and it sticks with you. It's really strange.
I don't know how, when you think of someone like Kim Kardashian, where you'd be like, oh, she does his look pretty, like, she's got no talent, blah, blah, blah. The fact she's managed to make a living for herself online and not let them comments really affect her mentally. I mean, you could argue that certain work that's been done, certain like aesthetics are done because of social pressures and stuff like that, and the way she changes her body shape or whatever. But she's able to do that constantly and not be having the breakdowns her ex-husband is having. So like there is a bit of a difference.
Do you think she avoids the comment section though? Because loads of people I've spoken to recently have said, just don't read your own comments. But it's hard when you're putting content out there. Like this week, for example, I put some autism acceptance comments out there, and I think one of them had actually said, what message would you like people to know? Because at the end of the day, we've got a platform. I wanted to bring those messages forward for people, make people feel seen and heard, and, you know, be that voice. So, you know, you can't always avoid the comments.
Yeah, it's really difficult when there's because in between those comments, there's ones that people are actually reaching out to you. They do actually want some help or some advice. And you're like, okay, I need to be able to see them. Exactly. But yeah, having someone that manages social media for you in general, I think, is amazing. We've got loads of people in the chat. Hello, guys. Hey. Fire emojis. Love it. Love to see it. Where is from? It is from UK. Pink lady, you're so beautiful. She sure is.
Wow, who are all these people and what have we done to deserve such a warm reception on this
It's beautiful.
sunny day?
I love it. And we've got Peter from True 5 Clothing. Congratulations on your marketplace at in Birmingham. So there's, I can't remember the name of it now. Is it the Red Market or something? I might be getting that completely
What,
wrong.
a stall placement?
It is a stall placement, but it's in an alternative kind of market.
Nice.
So Forever Emo has a stall
Oh,
there.
okay, cool.
And Peter has his Red Brick Market. That's it.
Yeah.
And he'll be opening on Sunday. So if you can get down to his opening Sunday, to the Red Brick Market, please go down.
So is that a permanent feature then? Or
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, that's how that works, right, Peter? Where you apply for the space, and then you get accepted depending on
yeah,
how
wicked.
well
Just thinking, I can't make it this Sunday, but we should definitely go over there.
we'll be
Evening, Kenzet. My boy is in the chat.
Oh, shout out! I love it when we've got people.
I do. Oh yeah, I can see it up there now, saying hello.
Peter says, "Yeah, it's all mine."
Oh, nice one, Peter. Hey, Kenzie, check out how popular your gal is. I'm his favourite teacher. So.
She's getting called beautiful and everything. Looking down the chat.
I'm not going to see him now because his day, well, his and my last day before the Easter holidays was today, so we broke up for Easter now.
Happy Easter. Have a lovely Easter holidays. Make sure you're getting that studying in.
Yeah, because you've got exams after the Easter holidays. It'll be fine though. It'll be fine.
Everyone's channel. Hi, lovely to see you.
Good evening. So we're here to talk about acceptance.
Acceptance. It is Autism Acceptance Week. When you said let's do it on acceptance, I was thinking acceptance in general or autism acceptance specifically.
I think that is the fascinating part of this concept, because I'd put out there about autism acceptance, but somebody had taken it as an acceptance thing and had said, so we should accept Hitler and Gandhi on the same level. And I thought, well, you know, we had a bit of a tiff over the fact that I was like, why would you take it? Like, I'm talking about autism acceptance. Why even take it to that extreme? It's just... Even
still, I think you're mixing accept with like. They're two very different things. You have to accept that both Gandhi and Hitler exist.
Well, and this is the thing. So then it started up. Loads of people got involved in the comments, and I kind of let them all argue it out, because that's the thing, isn't it? It's like, well, my point in the video that I put out there is, who do you think you are to judge? It's nobody's right to sit there and say, I am the moral compass. I decide whether you are right or you are wrong or you are accepted or you're not accepted. Even if, I'm sure we can all agree that Hitler's actions were wrong. So it's like, fair enough. But
we accept that he existed and did terrible things.
Yeah, and it's like, I'm not accepting that's right. Yeah, or good. Yeah, so I just thought it's really fascinating. Hey Dee and hey Kat.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us.
Well, that's why I was asking, because acceptance is a school of thought in psychotherapy, and it differs from that positive psychology where CBT tries to get you to change your thought patterns to be able to correct your behaviour.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas acceptance therapy looks at not making space for those emotions that you don't necessarily want. It's about accepting them, not saying, okay, great, I've got them, but just observing, okay, they're here, but only behaving off of your own values and morals.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've got that set in, okay, I know what my values are, I know what my morals are, I don't need to act upon my negative reactions to things that are happening in the moment.
Yeah.
It's about being able to... Yes. Because the other options is suppress, right? Suppress the emotion. I just won't feel it. We know it's not good for you. The other one, to try and change it. To try and, think of that alternative view, that alternative perspective that could help you. It's fine, but it still doesn't really speak to our brains. It's hard to just change that feeling. If you've got that feeling, I'm not good enough, change that. I am good enough. All right, I'm good enough. That didn't work. You need something more. So if I'm having that feeling of I'm not good enough, all right, I want to make space for that feeling, because what does that mean? There's a reason that is happening, so I can observe it, make room for it, but not let it impact how I go go through my life.
Well, Peter's just said in the chat, I accept I'm ugly, lol. Now, you're not ugly, and I'm not going to allow you to say that.
We don't do that.
But I think it raises a good point, because as females and males, there's these ideals, isn't there, that are pushed through the media. Now, you can spend your whole life trying to become that ideal and changing everything about yourself to mirror what you've perceived as the ideal, or you can accept that you are beautiful in your own right, and that you are worthy and valuable, and you know, and all these things, despite not looking a certain way, or you know, whatever. And I think the minute you accept it, you free up a whole headspace.
A good way of looking at it, I think, is to accept it. Okay, what does it mean? What is ugly? Do you really fit that description? Because what is beautiful?
Yeah.
When you actually look at these dictionary explanations of what these things mean, you can't actually be like, okay, yeah, I am one of those things. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
It is of the eye of the beholder. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely. I mean, working in education, it's quite a high turnaround. My classroom is constantly changing, constantly looking different. Sometimes someone will walk in and I think, oh gosh, you know, that's an attractive young person. You know, they could be a model, or they could, you know, you have those thoughts and those judgments.
Yeah.
But then some people you get to know and you're just like, it fades. That because they're so horrible that they couldn't possibly be beautiful anymore.
Definitely.
And the other way round, people that didn't necessarily catch your eye to begin with,
they make you laugh a few times and you're like, wait.
And then and they've got something about, you know, the expressions that they're pulling. It's the way their face moves, it's the way they move. It's like, I don't
quite
know.
often just someone being their authentic self is attractive enough, right? That they're confident in their own skin and who they are, they've already accepted who they are, and it's not about ugly or beautiful. It's just, I am me.
Which is why we're always trying to promote this unmasking and accepting diversity, because unfortunately there's little pockets of people that are really isolated that don't realize that they have got all these beautiful traits, because they're looking at the mainstream and the normal and, you know, and all the rest of it, and they're like, oh well, I can't ever be accepted or whatever because I don't meet those things. Which is why the internet's such a great place, because it connects us, but also maybe it's caused a lot of the problems as well, because you can put these filtered images where you've taken 200 photos but you've chosen the one.
So just before you've even uploaded it onto social media, your own phone is doing stuff with you, right? You're already like doctoring certain how it looks, and I know I am.
Now and again I'll open up TikTok to do a video, and it shows you yourself, doesn't it? 'Cause it opens up ready to make a video, and it's never just yourself, it's already filtered. So it's like just a slight filter, and you're like, oh, I look quite good for like just mugging out, chilling. But it's not. It's a filter, and it's, I don't know. Even that in itself can kind of lure you into, you're not good enough because this is how you should look.
Yeah, it's terrible, isn't it? And our older generations had like magazines that you could choose not to buy a magazine.
Yeah.
And then there was like adverts where you're like, okay, well, I could choose to not watch the adverts. I can walk away from that. Now it's constantly, it's someone I follow, an advert, someone I follow, an advert, someone I follow, an advert. And it's like, just to be able to see my friends now, I have to see adverts.
Yeah, we're getting programmed left, right and centre, aren't we? Dane's in the chat as well. Good evening.
Hello, Dane.
How are you? So, in terms of autism acceptance specifically then, we know there's a problem, but where do you believe the problems lie? Is it in people accepting themselves? Is it people shunning or not accepting other people's differences? Is it people not providing the right support that everybody can get involved?
I think it, like compassion, it's that three-way thing, right?
Okay.
It's how much you give to other people, receive back, and how much can you accept from other people. It's very,
So there was a post on a Facebook ADHD group that I'm in last night, and this poor lady, she was really confused because she's waiting for an ADHD assessment. She's got two ADHD work colleagues that she's friends with. One's also autistic. and the other one hasn't got the autism diagnosis but believes she's autistic, and they both believe that she is. And she did this kind of like, almost like, I don't see it, I don't understand why they both keep saying that I'm autistic, blah blah blah. She was like,
That's
yeah,
interesting.
she was like, yeah, I'm socially awkward, but that's the only part that I relate to. She was like, I'm chaotic, I love spontaneous like events, I don't need to know what's coming next, blah blah blah. So like, I commented and just said, well, it's really down to how you feel. You know, you don't have to if you don't feel like you're autistic, then, but is it hurtful that these other people are calling you autistic? And I put, maybe the social awkwardness is the autism, and the other traits that you're talking about is the ADHD. That's the complexity of both, like intermingling. But just to put it out there, I have never ever ever come across somebody that is only ADHD. I've worked in this industry for 15 years, and it's always autism and ADHD.
Yeah, definitely. Some sort of OCD.
Yeah. It makes me believe that ADHD itself is on the autism spectrum, because I have come across people that just present autistic, that don't present any obvious ADHD symptoms. But then I have never ever come across somebody that is just purely ADHD. Even myself, who presents as really hyperactive ADHD, and it's kind of like, you know, the way I dress and everything can be like, yeah, she's ADHD. My autism's like come through in the last 5 years. It's
channeling
it showed up, yeah. And then like when I was doing a bit of reading, a lot of ADHD females were saying that the more they've unmasked and accepted their ADHD, it's then allowed almost the autism traits to be like, here I am.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a really common post on social media, isn't it? It's like, I've spent the last few years learning about my ADHD. Turns out I've also got autism. Like, another thing to work out, and it's just.
But it answers. I think it answers as many questions as it raises sometimes. And it's like, oh, okay, that is why I feel this way, or that's why that part didn't match from that diagnosis.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna look to the chat. If you see me looking down, that's what I'm doing.
Dane's just sent a message.
Yeah, so we've got Peter saying that he's proud to have autism. I'm absolutely proud to be autistic. I would not want to be any other way. Dane, in terms of acceptance of autism, my eldest son, who is non-verbal and in a mainstream school, the level of love from not just his classmates but teachers and kids from all year groups really gets me emotional. He's like a local celeb in our village. Oh, that is
the power of acceptance of the community.
Exactly, and that's what I was just thinking there. And that the power of it, because then if it's the other way where you feel like your kid's being shunned, we've spoke to parents, you know, at festivals and things where their kids have not been invited to places, or they're not involved and made to feel like they're part of it.
Yeah.
So that is really nice to hear.
I love that.
Yeah, certainly. So I wanted to touch upon the PDA profile.
Okay. Just
because I think PDA, pathological demand avoidance, that was something that I realised shows up very subtly. It's not how it reads on paper.
It's to just think of it being demand avoidant. This idea of someone putting a demand on you. Well, how often does someone do that?
All the time.
Yeah. Because if you think of just a demand of someone coming up to and being like, do this. Like, no, it doesn't have to be like that. Sometimes it is my alarm going off.
Yeah.
How dare you? Yeah. How dare you tell me I have to do something now?
A text message coming through, it can really make me feel quite angry sometimes, where it's like, I want, my initial response is like, do you really think I've got time to, but it's just a subtle demand in the background of that needs replying to.
Yeah.
Who does it now?
Yeah.
Watch me not reply.
Another big one is a job that needs doing. I'm on my way to do it, and then someone says, do you want to do that? And I'm like, no, not now.
That's funny, because I've actually screenshotted that as the example to talk about when I do like a little mini video, because like you say, you're on your way to happily to do it, and someone's like, oh, can you do this? And then the reaction, it makes you feel you physically can't do it anymore.
It's because in my head, I'm like, this is the way I process it, or at least the way I rationalize it, is I struggle with life anyway. There's certain aspects of life that I need extra support with. And when I'm like bossing it and I'm doing it, I'm going to go and wash up. And then someone says, there ain't chance you could wash up.
especially
It's
if you
like,
stood up on your way.
you haven't recognised that I am better now. You haven't recognised that I am growing in these 5 minutes. It's a really strange concept of like, you aren't recognising me as the mature adult that's responsible. And the real reason for that is probably because I'm not. And that's why someone will say, should we do the washing up?
Yeah, they're perhaps trying to be supportive, but I mean, who knows? But but the idea with PDA is that it triggers a fight or flight response. You actually, your nervous system thinks it's in danger.
Yeah.
And that's why it can be so hard working with youngsters, or if you've got kids and they're a PDA profile, because even just saying, oh, let's eat at dinner is putting a demand on them that you've not even noticed you're doing.
So quite often I'll see posts of like alternative ways you can put things to kids.
Yeah.
How realistic do those alternative ways of putting things go?
I think there's a lot to be said. They do work to a certain degree. Sometimes there's a kid that they're just having a bad day, and it doesn't matter how you word it, it's not going to work. But when you start to be aware of it and you start to phrase your language, it does become second nature. Like, you read it and you think, really, I'm going to change the way that I speak. It seems like it's a lot of work, but in the classroom, because I've been doing it for 15 years, and I've been aware of it, it just becomes your new language, your new way of speaking. And it's just like giving choices. It's thanking. Sometimes I'll say, oh, you wouldn't mind doing that for me, would you? And then it's like they can or they can't. If they don't, I'm not going to go mad at them for not, and stuff like that. I don't know. The more you make it feel like and that's how life should be anyway. You do start to realise, well, actually, this is how it should be. It shouldn't be demands left, right, and centre. I
feel like if you can put it to them that, make it feel like it's them choosing to help you because that makes them feel better. I feel like it's maybe we're getting a bit too further on that in the ages sort of thing. Maybe that sort of thing at a young age wouldn't be that helpful.
Yeah, and that is the thing, and you've got to adapt, and as you get older, you've got to take responsibility for yourself. You know, it can't always be down to, well, you didn't ask me using the right language or whatever.
I've got PDA, I can't do that now. It's like, hold on a second, we're an adult. We can recognise how this makes us feel very uncomfortable. We have to work out how do we get over this.
Yeah, especially because people quite often do not mean to trigger you. You know, they do. It's just a mistake.
Life is full of demands, unfortunately, left, right, and centre, from like traffic lights to. How's you both doing? Very good, thank you.
I say boobs.
Oh. How's your boobs doing? I don't know. I think that's for you though.
Can I just say about the PDA thing though? I'm a bit of a show and tell type person. If I hear a song that I really like, or I've created something, I'm quite often like, can't wait to see my friends to show them.
Yes.
And that can put a demand on people without them realising. I'm like, oh my God, let me show you this. And I'm so excited to share that thing. But that can actually be really uncomfortable for the person who perceives it as a demand to then react in a certain way.
I've got like a window. I'm the same. I love showing people stuff, but I also understand how more than 2 or 3 things in a row, we have to kind of cut that, like just leave that.
Yeah.
Because I can feel when someone does it to me, you know, like, oh, have you ever watched this film? And I'm like, oh no. And then, oh, you should watch this one. And you should watch this one. And then you should watch this one. And it's like, hold on, I've forgotten the first one you even said. I'm definitely not going to watch any of these now.
Yeah, this is a one-way street. We don't know what you're asking. You're saying answer, please, but.
Are you saying how's your boobs doing or both doing?
We are both doing very well. Both the boobs and. And
we are a pair of boobs, really. If that's what you mean. Pair of tits.
So the other thing, Autism Acceptance is, has anybody listened to the telepathy tapes? Because
I've still not listened.
It's demand. It's very, very fascinating when it comes to non-verbal communication and making you realise that we have got this world completely set up as though this is correct and this is the way, and it's not. You know, the telepathy tapes makes you really question that there's other ways of communicating, and that there may be other ways of communicating that we've not even accepted into our understanding is that that's happening.
Okay.
So in the telepathy tapes, they're actually following families and young people and adults that are communing telepathically, and they're running very scientific experiments into, I've read the people trying to say that this is how they could have cheated doing this, and it seems more realistic that they've not cheated than that they have. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
without looking into it properly myself, I've got
it's
absolutely
very
no idea, but it seems to have really taken everyone by storm.
it's very fascinating because I just feel like it opens up this whole new concept of acceptance in terms of, we view a non-verbal person as they're non-verbal. They might be viewing us as, well, they're verbal. Like, it doesn't
God,
mean...
they sound annoying.
Yeah, like...
Imagine having to do that to communicate. Ugh.
Exactly. That's the thing, isn't it? Communication. We're doing all of this effort to communicate, and they're just communicating telepathically.
Yeah.
Who's in the right there?
Interesting. I would definitely have to give it a watch. Well, I can never remember what it's on.
I think I listened on Spotify, but I'm sure they've got a website that you can listen through their website, and there's probably you probably get it on other podcast platforms. Let's have a look at your beautiful presentation. We know you love a presentation.
Love a presentation. Sorry, guys. I know that you can't really see it because you're on my phone right now.
Oh, okay.
You're in my phone. What are you doing in there? It was mostly just some bullet points myself, really. Why acceptance, what this looks like, and tips for non-autistic people. We know that this is the month of autism acceptance. It's different to just that straight awareness. This is where we actually really try to dig a little bit deeper, try to understand, celebrate and support autistic people in practical ways. So why is it important? Awareness alone isn't enough. Knowing autism exists is one thing. True acceptance means valuing autistic people for who they are and making spaces more accessible for them.
Yeah.
And I think today, when you said, like, is it more about, the acceptance for ourselves or is it about other people? I think for our chat alone has shown us, especially with Peter saying, I'm autistic and proud, it's less about that self-acceptance. We understand we are who we are. We've already got that, that grief for ourselves, of our past undiagnosed selves, or our past unrecognised self. So I think focusing more on what other people can do and how society can help us.
Breaking down that blueprint of the norm. Like, why, I've said this before, why are shopping malls or shopping centres?
Shopping malls.
I didn't think what the word was. I was like, a shopping shop.
Mall.
Shopping shop. It's not a shopping shop, but a big shop like Morrison's or something.
A big shop with loads of shops in.
Well, any supermarket, that's what I'm looking for.
Supermarket.
Why are supermarkets set up with big, horrible, glaring lights?
Yeah, definitely. And I do mention it in here roughly. I think it's in here.
Yeah, like the public spaces idea. Why has it got to be that way?
See, you've got these few hours, right, of sensory-friendly shopping, but they're at 7 a.m.
Yeah, and they're never communicated very well. You never know they're happening.
And it's not like you're stopping anyone going in that's, necessarily being too loud, there's still sometimes music. It's a very strange... But it's a nice idea, right? Let's execute it in a better way. Because not all autistic people do their shopping at 7 a.m.
Yeah. And I just feel like there's probably some things that could just be changed completely. And nobody that's not got sensory issues would notice and mind. But people that have would be like, yes.
Yeah, definitely. It wouldn't make any difference to you. It's not like someone's going to come in and fit a wheelchair ramp to your home specifically. This won't make any difference to your life. Things they can do in the workplace, I think, is a really important one, because we know that so many autistic people are out of work.
That really frustrates me.
Especially when they're completely capable, fully fucking able to.
Yeah, and it's like, there's a lot of talk on the radio and stuff at the minute about the welfare bill, and a lot of fingers being pointed as though every ADHD person is the drain on the welfare bill. And it's like, no, they're scammers. Yet again, you're not angry at people who genuinely need it. You're angry at people who are scamming the system.
Most people I know with ADHD do not claim the PIP they're entitled to.
Yeah.
Because the application itself is so
Yeah.
stressful that it's just not worth it to them.
And most of the people I know that are claiming PIP for ADHD and autism are dying to work.
But
they
most
can't.
are in work.
And it's like the ones that I know that I'm trying to support into work, they can't access a rigid 9 to 5 job with the same expectations as others because they've got some slight additional needs, or they need some like alterations to make it accessible for them. And it just seems like those jobs they're not out there. People aren't prepared to.
Yeah, we need to be changing this idea of 9 to 5, this idea of what's normal,
Mm.
because it's not just autistic people that this would benefit. There's so many different types of brains, types of people out there that would benefit from different types of work schedules, and understanding that the majority of these jobs have to be 9 to 5,
Yeah.
8 to 4, whatever it is.
But it is annoying, isn't it? Because it would benefit the whole of the economy if we could get more people into work through being a little bit more flexible. You know, didn't COVID and lockdown teach us anything that most jobs can be like done from home? And
I mean, most of them are getting angry. They're saying, "Come back to work," aren't they? If you're not coming back to the office, then you can lose your job, sort of thing.
Yeah, and it's like,
why?
yeah, I know that there's elements of being in a team and changing environment that are actually good for your mental health, but surely as adults we should be trusted to know what's good for us and what's not. And I think for a lot of people, getting up, commuting, getting dressed early in the morning, getting ready and commuting all at the same time early in the morning is stressful for so many people, so why not change it?
Yeah, I mean, you just said it yourself, the transport itself can't manage it alone. I remember going to school in the morning, and because my bus stop was a few ones later in the village, it just drive past. The first 2-3 buses would just drive past me in the morning because they're full of school kids, and it's like, okay,
Brilliant.
Great. I'm not even at work yet.
Well, we've had some cuts to the budget for our students getting taxis to school. So now they have to do a 2-hour journey going from their places into the city, from the city to the unit.
I hate that so much.
And a few of them are doing it, but the ones that are doing it, they're turning up an hour late every day, so they're missing so much of their schooling. And it's great because it's giving them like quite a lot of independence, but you just think it's just having such a huge impact on so many of them, the ones that aren't capable of doing that, or their anxiety is too much, or going into town, they're like, no way.
I mean, I know for me as a kid, if you let me go into town before going to school, the amount of days that I'd have actually ended up going to school are very fucking slim.
Well, this is the irony that they're vulnerable, and we're meant to be safeguarding them, and yet let's remove something that makes school placement accessible and send them into town.
That doesn't make any sense. I saw a Facebook post about someone was saying about how they're losing their taxi service for their autistic kid to go to school, and someone commented, why don't you get up early enough and take them yourselves? And it just broke my mind that these people think that people get taxis because they can't be asked to go themselves. If you've got 1, 2, 3 children that have different needs, go to different schools, and the idea that you're going to have an autistic friendly school within your catchment area is ridiculous. Some of these people are travelling 2-3 hours of morning to school. It has to go through a taxi because you've got other kids that need to go places. It doesn't
or even you've got to get to work yourself so that you can afford all of the other things like a roof over your head.
100%. This idea that people are just like, I just wanted a free taxi service for my kid in the morning. Because I couldn't be asked to get up. Well, I like morning TV, so I wanted to send my kids.
Tally ho. Have a lovely day, darling.
Now they're getting wrangled by some weirdo at the bus station.
Just quickly, so talking about acceptance, we went into town a few weeks ago with a young person that we mentor, and his autism makes him very socially unaware of kind of what's acceptable and things like that. And it was quite stressful being with him when we were in town because it was busy and his behaviour was a little bit kind of odd. And afterwards I was reflecting on it because I was like, how can I best support this young man in the future? And then I thought, it's not right that I should be training him into, because his behaviour wasn't dangerous or rude or anything like that. It was just a bit kind of odd. And I was scared that we were both going to get beaten up. Like, you know, because people would misconstrue it of what's he staring at.
It's not him, it's other people. It's
Yeah.
other people's reaction.
And it's, in the long run, I thought, do you know what? If people were just more open-minded to the fact that, maybe he's not like me. Maybe that's why he's staring. Not that he wants trouble and he wants me to start effing and blinding and like, threatening him. And, you know, it really kind of reminded me that as a society, we've got a lot of work to do, that we should just be more aware and accepting in general that not everybody is equipped as you are for this scenario.
I think it's unfair because we're often, through media, through films, all these different ways, when we're depicted the crazy person, it's the person that we fear our safety around. You know what I mean? It's the person that you're taught through all these different ways. That person isn't to be trusted. That person is out of control. That person is a danger to you. And I think we have to try and work out that not everyone walking around your average high street is a crazy person that needs to be feared.
Yeah.
Even, you know, let's go to people with strong drug addictions that are on the street homeless. To look at their behaviour and just go, oh, that's scary and dangerous, I need to stay away from it, is also a little bit like, these are people as well. These are people that are down in their look, they're down in their life, and sometimes just need someone to look at them like they're the same as everyone else in this world, like they're not completely different. How
do we raise empathy? That's what we need to kind of do here, isn't it? Is raise that empathy. Is empathy... No, because I was quite... Everyone said right from a little kid I was really empathetic. So I was going to say, does empathy come from experience? Which I think a lot of the time it does, doesn't it? You kind of meet somebody that's been through that and you think, oh my God, that's made me judge less or whatever. But how do we kind of instill more empathy? Or is it just that everybody is so worried about money and angry and uptight and in their own head that...
It's hard, right? So my answer would be counselling, solid counselling. But what does that mean?
People need counselling because they've been ruined by the school system in the first place. I suppose it goes back to that core of, you know, we've all been through a system that's not supported us.
Yeah, you know, we've all got different agents of influence that we grow up. We've got parents that might have been like, suck it up, get on with it.
Yeah.
I know fucking Elon Musk says that empathy is what is the weakness of this world.
Yeah, that.
Which, I'm sorry, that's what makes me fear him the most.
Yeah, and I don't know whether it was just a social media thing, but didn't he refer to everybody as like pathetic or something like that?
God, I didn't see that.
Or ants, worker ants, some kind of really condescending thing. And I thought, how you can support a guy that's just referred to you in that way? He's talking about all of you. He's not
you're saying the quiet bit out loud, like, shush, you're ruining your side's thing here, you're just saying it.
God, yeah, it's crazy.
Kat says she took Esme 3 months for her taxi service to start. Before that, we had to take care as well as get Hattie and Arthur to school. Exactly, yeah, 100%. Like, this idea of having taxis to help our kids get to school is not because the mums want a lion.
Yeah, it's because that is the extra support that's needed or necessary. Like you say, the school's much further away than a mainstream school that's in the catchment.
And in those times where she wasn't able to get the help, she's having to do it herself amongst her other children that also need help getting to school on time. Like, how do you manage that?
I mean, there's an element as well, like, this goes back to the start of the conversation when people are fed up of hearing about awareness and acceptance and blah blah blah, because one of the biggest topics that opens up when I start to talk about this is everyone's autistic these days. But again, that comes down to the fact that we are just more aware of it. It's like, 20 years ago when there wasn't social media like this, there was one kid in your school. Well, there wasn't, probably 5 kids in your school that were autistic. So that was your only experience of it. Yeah. It wasn't represented in the news, in the media, or anything like that. And only the extreme cases were recognised. So, I was still autistic all those years ago. I didn't just suddenly become it, but it wasn't recognised as autism.
100%.
And it's like, if you're sat there listening to this or you're hearing other people say that, like, it's because we have grown as a population and in our awareness, that we are seeing more of it.
It's that difference between that acceptance and awareness, right? Like, okay, we have the awareness, Now we need some understanding. We need to be able to celebrate these people and support them. How do we do that? By learning some more. We might be aware it exists. We don't fully understand it. As a society, we need a better understanding.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, I remember going to school and us learning about, just because such and such is in a wheelchair doesn't mean that we can't do this and that with them, but they're not excluded. And they're quite, like, I remember it being instilled in us, like, we have ramps to help people get in and out of the building. I just remember it being at the forefront of people being like, people are different, don't bully them.
Yeah.
That was a constant thing throughout my schooling, and I just don't know.
We've lost that a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, Peter's saying that the whole school system needs to change.
Get rid of it all.
Yeah, no, I am hugely behind that. I mean, I put a video out this week of a young lad that I'm supporting to get his exams done after Easter. And whilst we were working one-to-one, because we very rarely get that one-to-one time, so I was like, right, come on, let's practice this while I've got you one-to-one. And he stood up and he was chucking a beanbag backwards and forwards the whole time we were working. Blue overlay over what he's doing. And
I saw the video.
Yeah, and I was making that video because I was like, look at all the things that we put into place to get this young lad to be able to concentrate. And then I thought, how sad actually, because he doesn't even need the skills that I'm forcing him to learn. And it's so infuriating because that kid's actually really good at loads of stuff. Like he's fantastic at creative writing, poetry in particular. He's really good in his hands-on stuff, his bricklaying stuff, his woodwork, all of that stuff. He loves music, he's very funny. And yet his self-esteem is absolutely rock bottom. He calls himself like horrible names because that's the way the system has made him feel. And potentially he's not doing GCSEs because he's not had the input to be able to do GCSE. Right. So he's doing a much lower level exam. And after this year, he's having to do that exam to try and open the next door. But after this year, there won't be any more doors to open, and he probably will end up a statistic that's not working. And you just think something has got to change. It's not that, I don't know, we're just so stuck in this idea that this is intelligence and this is what you've got to achieve. It's not. Like,
no, it's ridiculous. I mean, for the country as a benefit, right? If we need the tax because it puts into our economy, it fuels the economy, it grows the economy. We want more people in work so that they can pay into the system. It's like a no-brainer to me.
Yeah, that's the frustrating thing in it.
It's nuts. Oh God.
Lindsay and Steph for president, Prime Minister.
Please, literally, get the pair of boobs in. We'll sort it out.
But we are at that time of year where I'm watching I'm so proud of them for the effort and the hard work they are putting in, but I'm also so disgusted with the system that we're all having to jump through these hoops and plug because it's the only system that exists. It's not, there isn't an alternative. So it's like, I'm having to do this because they have to achieve that certificate to open the next door.
That's what's baffling to me. You are an alternative school. Why are you still having to fit into these mainstream ideas?
And why are they still being assessed on knowledge that's not relevant to them, not of interest, that they're never going to use, and not assessed on the stuff that they are good at, that they could make a career out of? Yeah, it really, really is. But yeah, so Peter saying that the whole school system, and again with the school system, you could have an environment that's supportive for everybody. Like, I know that because I've worked in it, and it's like the things that you put in place for a dyslexic person, for example, might be using off-colour paper to print on rather than bright white. That's not going to bother anybody, but it is going to support the people that have got slight visual processing issues. So why don't we just make that standard then?
You know what winds me up is you'll put that somewhere and someone go, well, everyone will want a bit of coloured paper then. It's like, well, not everyone can have one. I don't know why would you? No, why do they? I remember next to me, in my school, there was a girl next to me who had visual difficulties.
Yeah.
and she had this board that the school was able to provide for her, and it just meant that instead of doing this with her work, that it was here, and she could just write like this while looking at the board.
Yeah.
And I used to sit next to her because I could hide behind her board, just kind of like do what I wanted. But that's how I would use her thing. It was not like everyone's going to want one of these things. Like, no, I don't want one. I'm happy with my thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
We are all individuals, you know, like...
Yeah.
It's kind of like, well, if everyone wants one, let them try it. And if it doesn't work for them, they'll soon get over it.
Like, why do they want one? Is it because it might actually help them?
Yeah. It's like with the fidget thing as well, like... The amount of my students that come to my classroom, that they got kicked out of their original classroom for tapping their foot or for fidgeting with blue tack or whatever, and you're like, so what?
Let them have a fidget toy. Or let everyone want one.
So what?
All right, fine. If everyone really wants one. But, like, they're available for everyone and not everyone has got one.
Yeah, and the point that we're trying, like, what we're trying to create in people, surely, is autonomy for their own... what's going to work for me.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you're not going to allow everybody to try it, how are they ever going to... Because when my students say to me, oh, Linda, can I have some blue tack to fiddle with? I'll go, yeah, sure, as long as it helps. So I'll give it them, and then I'll keep an eye on that. And if they're... Sometimes they're fiddling and they're so engrossed in what I'm saying, because that's when it's worked. But sometimes they're there, like, creating a whole fortress of little mini people and not listening to what I'm saying. In that case, it's not worked. So then I have to say, look, I think that's actually distracting you more than it's helping, isn't it? Can we try something else?
Yes.
You know, it's like that's giving them the tools to work out what works for them.
100%.
Which is what we should be doing.
I remember when I was at school, they brought in the what type of learner are you?
Oh, yeah.
And
all of them.
I was like, oh, I'm quite visual. I'm good at drawing. I just assume I'm a visual learner. And I was like, it says here, doodling while making notes sort of thing, rather than actual written notes to help with sort of concentration taking. And I was like, I'd love to try that. And so many teachers would have a go at you.
Oh, that was just my constant getting told off for doodling in my book.
What's wrong with doodling? As long as I'm not writing F Mrs. whatever.
Yeah,
then,
exactly.
like, I've just never really, and it's like, well, everyone's going to want to doodle then. And it's like,
no, again though, this is what I mean about where did these horrible, rigid, black and white, old-fashioned rules come into play, where it's like, this is how everything should be.
That's where it hits on that, like, factory worker training, right, where we just want you to be on that conveyor belt, just doing the same as the person next to you, not questioning why.
This is when I say the education system's not broken. It's working exactly as it's supposed to. Yeah, and you know, this is why there's more and more young people that are disillusioned and that are actually standing up for themselves and going, no, I don't want to be spoken to like that by that adult.
Yeah.
That person thinks they're better than me. Why should they? And it's like, yeah, you're damn right. I'm glad that you're starting to question these things, because it's archaic. It's like, you know, we shouldn't have this hierarchy.
No, definitely.
Respect actually forms more when you go in on the same level.
Yeah, as a teacher, would you not want a student to be able to come to you about anything?
Yeah.
Even if it is like, Miss, why do you have your hair like that? Instead of being like, that's fucking rude, get out of my classroom. We're like, what do you mean, why do I have to have my hair like this? Why have you brought that up? What?
Yeah,
why does it
I
matter
like
to
it.
you? Yeah, just like, you can use that to work with the kid. Okay, why did you bring that up? Like,
it's the why thing. When I was younger, I used to get in trouble a lot for asking why. And, you know, I was always told that I had attitude or that I was difficult or whatever. And I wasn't particularly. I'd been raised well. I was polite, you know. But I did have a bit of attitude in my teens. And then I noticed the same pattern with the young people that I work with. Oh, I got kicked out of the classroom because I asked why. We were told we were learning this, and I asked why. And you just think that is such a triggering sore spot, because most people, when they're asked why, if they then lose it, it's because they've realised, oh, actually, I
can't explain myself.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, sometimes I'll say, right, we're going to do this piece of work today. Why? Because it's going to come up in your exam, and you're going to have to learn the skill. Why? And it's like, I know, that's a good question. Why do we get tested for exams? I don't know, but unfortunately, until it changes, that's the way it is. And it's like, you know, just answer them. The fact that you then go, how dare you question why? Out you go.
Yeah.
that's when your problems begin.
We say to kids, like, if your mate jumped off a bridge, would you follow them? Sort
Exactly.
of thing. And it's like, no, we want you to be autonomous and make decisions and clever thinking for yourself.
Yeah, it's like.
But also at school, shut up and do what you're told.
I carried a yellow piece of plastic to put over my white sheets at school because my school wouldn't provide anything. Well, I have got the coloured overlays and I've got all different colours because I get notes on which kids meant to have which, and blue is really popular at the minute. I've got 3 or 4 kids that are meant to use a blue overlay, but I've got a tub of tools that's got fidget toys, overlays, games, all sorts of stuff, and I always say to all of them, you're all welcome to try them, use them, yeah, and I also photocopy onto coloured paper. Which sometimes I'll just do it for all the class because why not? Why make that one kid that needs
out.
blue? Yeah, you know. Got Peter laughing about that's me so much. I used to build mini men out of blue taxi. I know, this is the thing. It's because it happens. And I'm like, what are you doing?
I used to make fake nails. Like they just used to go on my nails, and I'd make them a little bit longer than my actual nails, and then my next one. And then at the end, I'd be like.
And in the meantime, you've missed the whole lesson.
Oh, shit.
But I have got fantastic claws. Kat says that George gets detention for doodling in maths, but it helps him focus, and his maths teacher's the only teacher who doesn't allow it. And this is what I don't get. You always get those teachers that push back against certain things that you just think, why? Just allow it. What does it matter?
I'm almost certain if you go back to the origins of mathematics, like you go to the Greek, like you really go to this, like they would have been doodling. They would have been.
That's where these
to work
symbols...
this sort of thing out. Yeah, where do you've seen these mathematical symbols, haven't you? Like you need to be able to doodle a bit to understand whatever these things mean. Yeah.
Do you know what I've seen happen though? Because I was a teaching assistant for a long time before I was a teacher, and don't get me wrong, I've worked in some fantastic schools, but some of the schools where they weren't so good, I've seen a teacher say, stop tapping. No, stop jigging your foot, that was it. So the kid stops jigging their foot, but then you can tell they're now not listening to any. When they were jigging their foot, they were listening.
Yeah.
The minute you've told them to stop doing that, they're now so badly concentrating on not jigging their foot that they've lost focus on the.
They've not heard anything.
Yeah, and the whole look at me to show that you're listening. That's another one. If I'm really intently listening, I find a point in the room and I watch that whilst I'm listening. But the minute I feel like I've got to look at you because that's how you've judged if I'm listening or not. Yeah. In my head, a little voice starts up like, you've been looking too long. Now look away. I think you need to look away. Oh my God, are they finding this weird? Maybe they're finding this weird.
When I look, is the nose annoying? Is that a weird place? Can I go between the eyes?
Yeah.
Go from back one eye to another?
Then it's like, I can see my own nose. I wonder if anyone else can see their own nose. You know, but it's when I was staring at that one point, I was listening. So it's like,
let me get on with it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like just stay out of judging how everybody else is doing. Check in with people by all means. You know, how you doing there? Is there anything I could do to make this more interesting? But
as a teacher as well, if you find that you're getting really distracted by someone just doing this with their foot, you may need something checked out yourself as well, because you are easily distracted.
That is the irony in it, and I have said that to the students. Sometimes I'll apologise because I'll sometimes say like, pack it in, or I'll flare up over something, then I'm like, sorry, that's because that's my sensory need. And it's like, that's why we've got such a good rapport, because I'm so open about what I need as well, and I'm like, it is a two-way street, and it's like, that's teaching them about life, isn't it? That it's not all about you, I'm afraid, but it's also not all about me either.
Yeah.
It's about us as a collective.
It's exactly that same as, like, you should be able to come to me about anything. Do you know what
I
mean? It's literally in the same breath.
Hey Coops, nice to have you.
Hello, chicken.
I've had a student today. She's really, really new and really, really high level needs wise. And she shared a poem that she had written with me today. Now, bear in mind, it's probably the 3rd or 4th time that I've had her. And she just said, oh, I've written a song for my mum. And I didn't even know she had any level of English because we've not even got to that point yet. So I was like, I was like, read it to me if you want. And she like went a bit like daft and then was like, yeah, you read it. And I read it. Oh my God. I was like fighting back tears. Because it's so heartbreaking. It's saying that she's being pushed from pillar to post, from school to school, and that She tries hard. She just wants to make. She's like, sorry, mum. I just want it. I'm sorry, mama.
Oh
In
my
my
God,
head.
that's literally all I heard when you
Yeah,
first said
I've had that in my head since, and I was like, oh my God, you know, do you still feel like this now? And she said, no, I feel a bit better since coming here, because she
Aw.
feels like she's found a bit of acceptance and a bit acceptance. See,
Goes a long way.
and it's like, because her ADHD gets in the way of her behaving, and she's like, I know that people keep telling me to try harder, but I really am trying.
Right, yeah.
And it's horrible, because it was like, I wish
breaks
that
my
this
heart.
kid could have that printed on a t-shirt for every single adult that works with her, to understand that that's what's going on beneath the surface.
Every
She
time you
doesn't
give up
mean-
on this girl, it's just another fucking like, yeah. No,
And
I
every
know I'm
time
not
you
good enough.
shout at her for, why did you do that? She doesn't know why she did it. Her impulsiveness got there first. You know,
Yeah.
her brain caught up after, and it's like, oh, I don't know why I did that.
Impulsiveness got there first. It's such a good sentence. I don't know why I did it. The impulsiveness got there first.
Do you see what I mean? Though,
Yeah.
it's like, you know, she's done something without thinking.
I
Of
can
course she
fully
has.
relate to
And
that.
it really touched me, because it just made me. I've had a tough few weeks with the teacher, and I've cried in the toilets about 3 times. And it's not their fault, it's the system, you know. It's horrible. But today, reading that, I was like, oh, reminded again why I'm here, you know, just trying to forget the exams, forget the results, just trying to make them feel like they are worthy as a human being.
And then face them against something that you're almost setting them up for failure, bless them.
Yeah, and that's all I am doing. It's like just doing my part to push them on. But I hope in the meantime, I've given them a connection and a bond that has sowed a few seeds that will last them. You know, that they will think, well, I remember that there was an adult that told me that I could be anything I wanted to be, kind of thing. You know, they've looked around my bus. They know that I've chose not to have kids. They know that I've made these choices in life. So it'll
You've shown them this example of like what life can be.
Yeah, the blueprint doesn't have to fit, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, who knows?
Oh, I love that.
It might save them at some point.
And maybe poetry would be the thing that gets you noticed if it's making your teacher well up.
It's
It be powerful.
It's so common though. So many of the young people are writing poetry, and I did as well. Like in my teens, behind closed doors, it's the way that they're handling their emotions, and yet they're not capable of sitting an English exam and talking about an essay, but they can physically create something, but nobody cares. It's like, oh God.
I just think when we live in this new age of AI, do they really need to know so many of these things? Does their handwriting really need to be that good?
Like, this is the thing, isn't it? It's like everything in that exam is only going to be relevant if they become a teacher, and they have to then teach it to their
themselves.
Yeah. That is literally how sad the situation is.
Oh, that's heartbreaking. That's what another argument for doodling during maths. Like, hey, this doodling will help me with my art career.
Yeah.
This maths, this hypotenuse, I'll never say again. Just, yeah.
I mean, if anyone's got any ideas how we can destroy education, I'm down.
How do we destroy education? To be fair, we need to destroy everything at the same time. I think it all just needs to come down.
I feel like we are seeing disruption in the traditional hierarchy. There seems to be a lot of unrest.
I can see. I don't know if anyone's heard Gary's economics. He's beautiful. He's beautiful. He just makes videos about taxing the rich and turns me on. I love it. But this idea of it's getting somewhere, and I fear, because as history repeats itself, we'll be having that war first.
Yeah,
and then after that, we'll have to have this moment where the wealth distribution has to change. Because even having a mortgage, I'm not going to go into it. I'm going to go. Well, we don't need to do it.
We've spoke about mortgages today in class in PHSE, and I was answering a lot of questions in it, because I'd said to them, I was like, look, a lot of young people complain they're not set up for life. So what do you want to learn about? And one of them said, asked a question about housing, and then it just got us onto this whole, you know, do you rent? Do you have a mortgage? What does a mortgage mean? but what if you sell a house for this much? Do you still owe, you know, like, and there was loads of questions came from it, but we were looking at like what's the average house price and stuff, and I was like, oh my god, the future looks pretty bleak for you, like. So how do I keep them positive?
It's ridiculous. Daniel Press
Yeah,
says,
I'll
I don't
see you
really
for a while.
like changing it to autism acceptance makes it feel like it's being forced on people. You'd better accept my autism or else autism awareness just I find it interesting that you're seeing it as a force.
That's a bit
forced.
pathological demand avoidance.
There's a bit of PDA in there. Autism acceptance. Accepting something, I think then you want to be questioned why it feels like you're being forced to accept something that does exist. Because what is the other alternative?
Yeah,
to just ignore autism.
It doesn't exist.
Autism doesn't exist.
No, autism. I'm not accepting your autism.
So saying you'd better accept my autism, I think is a very acceptable boundary to have as an autistic person. I know that sounds really a bit rude of me, but I think that's fine. Dwight, hey guy, how you doing?
That is quite funny. I mean, I saw somebody taking the mickey out of the autism acceptance because it is this is why we've brought it up, by the way, Daniel, because it's
not a stupid comment that you've made.
Yeah, it's a strange phrase in general, which is why we wanted to talk about it, because it is such a, you know, what are we accepting? Who's accepting what?
Yeah, I do it all the time. My biggest thing is compassion therapy, and when someone says compassion, I can see people's faces go, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Compassion. It's all love. And it's actually, if you think about it and you actually really study it, it's really fascinating, and it will conquer all. I get accepting that it exists. It was just one of those, if it's not broke, don't fix it sort of things.
I think did it used to be Autism Awareness Month then? Have they changed it? Because I felt like, kind of like, oh, how long's it been acceptance then? I had that strange...
I think awareness is the single day, isn't it? Or the week.
Oh, okay, it's World Autism Awareness Day, and then it's Acceptance Month. But I had this is why I said, Steph, let's talk about acceptance, because I was like, it's really strange to try and work out what it means.
Yeah, so World Autism Awareness is just a day. That's the 2nd of April.
But has it always been Autism Acceptance Month? That's what I mean. Or was it Autism Awareness Month to begin with? And while Steph's looking that up, I saw a really funny meme where it said, hey, it's Autism Acceptance Month. If you have not been accepted by at least 3 autistic people by the end of the month, you're out. And I was like, because that's an autistic way to perceive it, right? Like, it's like you've taken it the other way, where it's like it's up to the autists to go around accepting people. Like, you've been accepted, don't worry. You've been
As
accepted.
a neurotypical, you pass. So Autism Acceptance Month, formerly known as Autism Awareness Month, originated in the 1970s with the Autistic Society, designated April a time to educate and raise awareness about autism. In the 2010s, the Autistic Self-Advocacy Network began advocating for the term acceptance rather than awareness to promote understanding and respect for autistic adults.
And this is why it struck me then as like something we needed to talk about, because I did think, I'm sure it used to be awareness and now it's acceptance, but I don't think it's a bad thing, because I think people were getting a bit fed up with the term awareness. Like you said earlier, they are aware.
We're aware.
Now what do we do? It's like, well, now you need to accept, that your way is not always the correct way, just because it's always been that way for as long as you can remember, in 20 whole years, doesn't mean it's the right way.
No, yeah, definitely.
Because I think our parents' generation that's older than us are very set in their ways.
Yeah.
60-year-olds are very
don't I know it.
But they are very like, well, it's always been this way and it was fine before, and you're just like,
it's never going to change.
It's not always been this way though, has it? There's such thing as ancient history.
Yeah, but history.
It might have been this way for 50 years, but that's it. Doesn't mean it's the only way.
Yeah. Next we'll have Autism Oscars for BAFTAs in your career. You're joking. I want that to
I'm
happen.
gonna say don't, because I've had it in my notes for like the ADHD awards or the neurodivergent awards or something for us to do as like a, you know, present awards.
I already
for
came up
things,
with one called the Spices, and it literally has. It was like
yeah.
special people. Oh God! Right, I'm actually gonna find it.
And you could have like super chili hot,
Yes.
hot, warm. You know, how spicy are you? The Tism Oscars, I love that. I'd like to accept this award for biggest meltdown of the year. Trust me, me and Steph would be fighting for the crown. Behind the scenes meltdowns when things aren't, you know, when your technology's going wrong and stuff, and you just want it to be pulled off.
If I could have an actual footage of you before that 12-hour stream, that would be hilarious.
So, go on, you do that, and then I'm going to answer Coops.
Supportive people inspiring creativity, identity, emotional intelligence, and self-development. The Spices.
I love that. That is wicked. The Spices. We're going to bring that. We're going to bring it. And we'll give you, Daniel, the best comment. I love that. I've made Steph have to go up and go on a scavenger hunt. My wife. We should do that one time. Like send us off around the house to go and find certain
that's actually
things.
quite funny.
So Coops, can you explain what autism is for the simple-minded people asking for a friend? So can I just begin by saying that I covered this in a mini video at the start of the week, which is every single brain is completely different. So if you imagine that here is a big spectrum of every single brain is on that spectrum of how it operates. And then within that spectrum, you have what has been recognized as the autism spectrum. And it's an alternative way of the brain functioning, processing, experiencing the world that's not the mainstream. So it's like there's still probably 20% of brains in there. So it's not completely abnormal stuff, but it's like the basic 5 senses might be hypo or hyper. So there's certain areas that autism will affect, and senses is a big one. So I've got quite a high pain threshold, but low sensitivity when it comes to loud noises and, and light. So, and other people's senses will be different. And then it also affects your social awareness and ability to kind of be socially normal. So it can make you feel socially awkward, social anxiety, all of those things. It can affect how you communicate and how you process communication.
Yeah.
So it took me a long time to realise that maybe many arguments I've had in my lifetime is because I hear something different to what they are actually saying or what they actually mean. What other areas would you say autism affects? Rigidity.
Rigidness, special interests, certain things, you're very particular about certain things, and generally this is because you've learned that they give you the peace that generally you can't seem to find other people getting from things, or you see them getting it from anything. You're like, oh, they're just happy. Like, I need to disassociate for 2 hours and watch this specific program that I've watched 50 times already.
Like me and Judge Judy, as soon as I get in, I'm almost like gagging because I need to get
it
on.
up.
And it regulates my system.
Yeah, it's just a different, the way that the brain works differently.
Yeah, it is a neurotype. It's not a disorder, although it can cause issues like learning difficulties. It can, like, you know, in severe cases of autism, people might never live independently because they lack awareness of what's dangerous.
Yeah.
No, they can't cook for themselves and things like that. They might burn themselves.
Some people would consider their autism a disability, whereas some people just
feel that they're different.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can definitely pick up a general understanding by searching, like, what does being on the autism spectrum mean, but it's only through meeting real people and them talking about their perspective that it gives it depth.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I said it on the most recent Untangled, but Love on the Spectrum, the most recent series, is out on Netflix now, and they've done something well where they've actually paired them with people that they would have a chance of being with. And each one has got like a good story to it, and it's perfect. But as well as their love relationships, it shows them in their other areas of life.
Yeah, advocating for themselves and for others.
And some people have high support needs, some people have really low support needs, and it just gives you that good idea of like there's one couple that are just like, they're kissing proper full on in front of their parents, and their parents are like very happy because they didn't realise their daughter could have these feelings for another man.
Yeah.
They didn't know that she could have this like lust for someone. But at the same time, it's their daughter making out with another man just on the other side of the kitchen table, and they're all going, oh God, the dad's like, do I need to get the hose? What's wrong with you two?
It's brilliant.
And the mum's like, oh, it's just so, I'm so happy for them. And the dad's like, yeah, when will they stop? It's great.
Yeah, that is. I love Love on the Spectrum. It makes me cry every time, just because it's just so beautiful.
It is so beautiful.
But and that's the thing. The thing to remember is that if you've met one autistic person, you've met one autistic person, because we're all so totally different and present different and have different areas that might be a struggle.
Yeah.
There can be some really common things as well, like being quite restrictive with the types of food that you eat, eating the same types of food all of the time. It's quite often down to not trusting new things.
Yeah.
But it's always fascinating when you're ADHD and autistic, because you're seeking and you're searching for, like, I need everything to be the same, but I'm also bored with it. And I need everything to change.
Yeah, what is autism, and then what's autism and ADHD is a different question.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and Daniel said, and a lot of hyperfocus, that leads to a shitload of time blindness. Yeah, totally.
Time blindness. That should be my middle name.
I've got a question asking, is that why there's a hole in the wall from your meltdown, lol? Like, yes, absolutely is.
Wait, where's the hole?
I know, when I'm not looking at that screen, like, how did it get noticed?
Did you just call me out, like, hypothetically?
'Cause
It's actually happened.
But
Shall I just say yeah?
Emotional dysregulation, that's how these things happen.
Not from me.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot to it, because Coops is just saying, nice one, I think I get it, and there's more to it than I assumed. It's like, yeah, totally.
Gotcha.
You've got this kind of understanding that we're given, and then it's actually way, just like everything else, it's way more broader than that.
If you're relying on films and TV to give you your whole understanding of the world, that could be a little bit strange as well.
Yeah, totally. And this is the thing, I didn't understand that I was autistic for a long time, even to the point where I was working with this man, and his platform is called Autistic Not Weird. Shout out Chris Bonello. And we were so similar, Chris and I. And I said, well, what am I then? Just weird. And that's where a different human design started developing from. Because at this point, I hadn't even realised I was ADHD. I genuinely was just like, so I'm just weird then. And then I started, and at this point, I'm like late 20s, very late 20s, very early 30s maybe. And I'm thinking, well, so Chris is autistic and he gets to be in the autistic gang. And I'm just weird.
I'm just
like,
weird.
And originally I was going to call the platform Just Weird. Because I was like, I didn't have any, I still don't have any labels. So it was like, you know, well, what's wrong with you being just weird? But then it got to the point where it's like, I've got all my relationships, my romantic relationships have failed. You know, I was jumping from job to job, and the just weirdness, you're starting to blame yourself. Like, there's something wrong with me. I'm not just weird, there's something wrong with me. And then all these years later, I'm like, oh my God, I'm autistic. I'm autistic. That's why me and Chris were so similar. And it's, you know, it took, because I listened to people talk about autism and kind of think, oh, I thought everyone was a bit like that though. You know, now I understand why I felt like that.
Oh, it turns out not everyone's like that.
Yeah, but I'm autistic.
But it's easy to think that everyone is like, because all my friends are like that.
Yeah.
It's only like that because I'm like that.
Our little song, because we're autistic. Shout out Jason, we've got someone in the chat, but we are actually coming to the end of our stream.
So greetings, Jason. But
Groups is saying cheers again. Sorry can't stay long, but keep the great videos and live feed. No, it's lovely to have you at any point. This is what we kind of do it for, though, people to drop in and out, ask questions, get involved.
Yeah, definitely.
Listen to us.
Hit the like and subscribe if you haven't already. We're at 158 views, which is like really cool.
Yeah, it certainly is. Please do hit like, because it just helps the video go further.
Get that algorithm going. I say it all the time. It's so cringy to have to ask you and to.
It's not.
It kills me every time I like and subscribe. I can just hear on my. But it does work. It does have an effect. So I've got to do it.
Yeah, see, it doesn't make me cringe asking it all, but I think that's because every YouTuber I watch says it. So it's like, it's just what we say on YouTube, and
I think that's it. Whenever I'm like, I'm a YouTuber, that makes me cringe, which it shouldn't. I should be excited.
Maybe it's the it's the demand avoidance. Like, you know how you feel when they're telling you to like and subscribe. And no, see, I always do like and subscribe.
When someone says it, I'm like, oh yeah. The amount of videos that I watch that I don't remember to like them until they say, and I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? And so that's why it doesn't bother me saying it. 'Cause I think, well, no, I know it works because it works when I'm watching a video, and they remind me.
If nothing else, do it for the sake of Steph having a cute beanie that makes her look like a hot koala woman.
Her beanie is very signature and very cute.
Thank you very much. I love the double bubbles.
Double
bubbles.
It
But
looks really nice.
a hot koala woman.
We
We were talking before this about how you get the slightest compliment. I'm like, made my day. This is literally it.
Yeah, this is it.
Hot koala woman. Like, just got a new favourite animal out of this.
She's gonna be at festivals this year, like.
Do you think I'm a koala?
Well, not just a koala.
People tell me I'm like a koala. What's a hot koala? Don't they have like chlamydia and stuff?
Koalas?
That's
I
what they
don't know. I just
do.
know the eucalyptus leaves.
Oh, constantly drunk. Love it.
But yeah, on that note then, hot koala woman and boobs.
I'm gonna hot koala. Pair of bobs. It's been an interesting one. You guys have made it extremely interesting. Thank you so much for joining us, and it'll be the members only episode, right, next week?
Yeah, next week. And you can join for as little as £1.
Where do they go to sign up?
Patreon.
Just Patreon. Just type in Patreon.
Yeah,
more specifically.
Patreon, A Different Human Design, and you'll find our profile. It's got our picture on there, so you'll see it.
And it won't just be for this episode. You can catch up with all of the private episodes that we've had for just our members, for just £1 a month.
And you get to help us keep going.
You get to help us. You can help me set up in here. Get some manual labour going.
There are some other benefits. I actually have done a video to share because this week I went to 4 cash points and not one of them was in service. And the 5th cash point was in service and it charged me £1.25 to get my own money out. So you can sign up for less than it cost me to get my own money out.
Welcome to the UK.
But thank you so much for joining us. You have all been amazing.
And Sunday, if you can make it to the Red Brick Market, go and check out True Vibes Clothing. And we will see you on the next one.
Indeed.
This is Lindsay.
And this is Steph.
We're a different human design.
And this is a different podcast.
Bye. I gotta turn you off now.
I was just thinking that, like, and now you can watch me until the stream goes. Good night, everybody. I'm gonna put hearts in the chat so you all hearts in